everybody. Welcome back to the KF&JF podcast. We're so happy that you're all here with us today. Today is another show that we are so happy to have a guest on that has something to show us that I will tell you right off the top, it's going to make your mouth water because I'm already looking at some of the stuff that she has, and I can't say too much right now because it's not my place, but I'm allow all that to be hers. But again, I want to thank you guys for coming out and viewing the show and also taking the time to subscribe. And it's been such a pleasure to provide these entrepreneurs to you guys and show you some of the things that they're doing out there. And we can't appreciate them enough for coming on. And I just want to make sure that I tell you thank you and also introduce our co-host, Razak.
Hello, everybody. I'm Razak. I am the CEO and founder of United Minority Business Ventures. My purpose is to help small businesses grow. I assist with the creative process and maintenance of your business. The method to achieve results is simply building a deep relationship with your customers. And we do this by forming opportunities to communicate and collaborate with your followers, subscribers, and other business owners. By using a wide range of networking tools, we have the understanding for building your marketing profile, social media marketing, figuring out your marketing strategy, building your financial profile for your business, or branding your product or merchandise. We may also determine what licenses are needed to operate your business. If you're planning on owning a domain or buying into pre-existing sites that host your page. And I like to try to drive the traffic towards your page. And by allowing me to frequently select posts and create subscriptions, comments, and likes. We also assist by generating comments on other individual business sites or page that create a dialogue of conversation directed towards your page. I'd just like to say it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today.
Yes, for sure. We are so happy to have Ms. MENDEZ on the podcast. And I know that she is in the business of making smiles and making people happy out there. And I want to give her the chance to introduce herself. So go ahead, Ms. MENDEZ. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Edie. My full name is Edna Mendez, the founder and creator of La Poblana. I'm a food vendor for the counties and the cities. I do special events and caterings, and I love to cook. It's been always my passion, and that's why I decided to venture into the business.
Okay. Love to cook.
Well, isn't that a quick old introduction about your food? But we're going to get into a lot more than just that. I'm sorry to say that you're going to tell me a little bit about more than you just loving to cook.
Yes,
because I love
I'm
to
just
cook
a little
too.
nervous. I'm like,
And now don't be nervous. Just sit back, relax, and just think about this as talking to a few of your friends, somebody that you're outside, because you're outside right now. And I'm sure you've
yes.
always been to a few barbecues, a few cookouts, a few cabezas, whatever, having a good time. So let's just think of it that way. One of the questions I'm going to ask you right off the top is, tell me a little bit about what got you into your business.
I started as a very young kid in the food industry. Started working when I was 8 and then got into the restaurant business around 14 and a half. It was a family-owned restaurant, and I started as a dishwasher, then integrated into a busser, then server. When matters got a little bit of rough, being a worker of a mom and pop's place, I ended up doing a little bit of everything in the industry and then category. So I got into the cooking part a few times. That's when I really found out I love what I did. I love creating recipes. I love cooking and assembling dishes. And most of all, I liked the fact that people would wow and smother their food and enjoy it so much and contemplate it that it fulfilled me. It made me feel complete. It made me feel like I actually did something right and I made somebody feel great by, contributing to giving them a good plate, hearty, full of flavor and quality.
Right.
Well, I've witnessed your full plate. I will tell you that. I definitely witnessed that and seen the portions that you put on for your guests. And I think that is, it's one of those things that I think it's important when you go out to eat. I'm a critic. And my family would tell you, I go out to restaurants, and my thing is I'm a critic. So I try to say, well, they didn't put enough on there. They should have gave me more beans or whatever it is. When I saw your meal you put together, I think you took all of those customers' concerns and just shattered them and made it so that they have no concerns about what you're offering them. Another question I have for you is, can you tell me a little bit about you, something that is unique, something that not many people know about you?
Uh, a lot of people really, well, I guess I'm very like to myself. I'm very kept. When I'm out there in the industry, I always socialize. I engage with customers, regardless of how my day is going. But a lot of people don't understand that I'm very passionate and hard giving, to the point where I've been in the industry long enough to understand that growing out of a poverty zone, I grew up very poor. I grew up in East LA, 49 in Hoover, 54 in Broadway. I come from hardcore, the heart of LA, with a lot of poverty, not being with a lot of money. So, being the oldest sibling in my family, I had to raise my brother and my sister, help my mother. And that made me grow and enrich myself to being humble no matter what the situation is. That's why my plates are so big. I've been in the industry long enough to see other vendors, see other restaurants, even the ones I work and have seen and ate in, and how the inflation has affected the community by raising their prices and yet dropping their plates. I'm not going to do that. I'm the one that's going to give you what you paid for. Yeah, the prices can be high sometimes, but you're not going to lose an inch. My plates and my food is enough to feed two people, and you've seen it yourself. That's because I don't want to cheat people. I don't like that. I hate seeing hungry people. Even when I do venues, if I see homeless or if I see somebody that doesn't have the complete money, I'll end up just covering it because I hate to see the fact that people go hungry. And that's why probably I'm so passionate about giving them the quality, the taste of the food, the quantity of itself, even though they're paying. And you know what? For me, it's not so much about, oh, I got to make more money. I got to get richer. You don't get rich overnight. I know that money and part of being a business owner is making money, but you can also make it by being humble, creating a good following, and knowing, letting people know that you're going to be a vendor. They recognize you and they'll come back to you because you will feed them. They won't get cheated out of their price. I guess that's the part that people don't know from me, that I have a heart and I'm not going to, go out of my way to just rip you off. I'm going to give you what you're paying for and it's going to be worth it.
Right. Right.
I think that is great because when you said that you were from, the old school, in a
Yeah.
way of understanding that, back in the old days, when we were, I think about when I used to go to the taco shop or go to different places. Man, they used to make it big, and now sometimes you go to these places and the prices are so high, and it's like $13 or $14 for three tacos or maybe four tacos, and then there's nothing inside if I eat it, and I have to wait till I get to the middle in order to get something.
Correct. That is
So I
correct.
really can appreciate that you have taken all of those things into consideration, and that makes for something, like you said, somebody wants to go back to you. Somebody wants to make sure that, oh, you know what, I know that they will give me something to eat, and they'll travel miles out of the way, passing all of these other places. Or even if you're at a vending event and someone's got the same dish as you, they'll bypass them to go to you because of those types of things that you're talking about. And I think that's great. And I really, like I said, can't wait to try some of your dishes. I'm going to pass it over to Razak, who has a few questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Um,
And you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I seen some pictures of them plates, man. I'm gonna have to catch up with you one of these days and see what it tastes like for real, though.
You
Let
have
me
to
see.
stop by.
Let me ask you. Can you break down the name? Because I'm La Poblana.
La
What
Poblana.
is La Poblana? Okay, well, what does that mean? All right, I mean, how do you?
So
Where's the origins of
Mexico
that?
has a lot of ethnic like regions. So it all depends on what kind of region you're from, what part of Mexico you're from, and that has a lot to do with the seasoning, the flavor, the texture of your food. And La Poblana is more deferred to a Puebla, like a little town. Have you ever heard of like pueblo towns? Let's go to this pueblo. Say, for example, you're going to Guadalajara, but Guadalajara has a little town called Guerrero. It has a little bit of chalupas or anything. That's a town. That's a Puebla. That's a little town. La Poblanas are
Okay.
more traditionally from more center of La Puebla, Guerrero. You have a lot of different regions from Mexico. They are more brought up old school, where they make their own herbs, their own seasonings, roast their own peppers. They even mold their own corn to make their corn tortillas fresh and handmade. So that's more of a traditional home cooking from Mexico, as you may say.
Okay. Okay. So it means little town.
Yes. Small
Okay.
town, big heart.
Is that
Yes, yes,
is that
yes,
you said
yes.
is that you said Guadalajara? Is it near El Paso,
No, no, no. It's Mexico. It's
Mexico? I
it's
mean,
called it's Puebla. Mexico has its own city. It's called Puebla. It's like Chihuahua. You have Guadalajara, Guanajuato, Mexico City. You're in California. You have San Jacinto. You have Temecula. You have Palm Springs. That's basically what it is. It's Puebla.
Mhm.
It's another city.
okay. No, I went to El Paso before, and
Oh,
they had a little saying over there. Was little town was one of the little, but it didn't. They had a little thing that was going over there called Little Town or something. I was just
I have a
trying to
lot of
associate
family
that
in
with that.
El Paso.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
okay. So what would be what would okay? So you're making more traditional Hispanic food or Mexican food? Is it
It's
just
not the tradition that you're seeing with me, because you're gonna see a lot. Now, right nowadays, you're gonna see a lot of Americanized Mexican food. The
okay?
difference with mine is that I make my own salsas, I make my own guacamole, I add my own seasonings and my own twist to my plates. So you're gonna go out there and eat asada fries. You're gonna go out there and eat the birria tacos, street tacos, fish tacos. They're not gonna have the same flavor. And this is the feedback that I get from customers that I get daily on a daily basis. They come to
Hmm.
me, they notice the flavor, they notice the texture, they notice the quantity and the quality of my flavors, and they come back. We've been doing Palm Springs Vintage Market for 8 years now, and I have
Okay.
people who come from LA and check into that market just to have our breakfast burritos.
Yeah, they're probably gigantic, huh?
Yes, they are.
oh, oh my God! I mean,
You see one of the
you
breakfast burritos?
talking breakfast burritos too? Oh my God,
Yeah.
man!
You know,
They,
I don't know
I
how
know.
long. I don't know how long, Razak, you're gonna be asking questions, man, because she's got
save
some
that
good
tummy for
food, man.
later. It's
Yes,
gonna be worth
food.
it.
And especially when you're talking about authentic food.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the flavor and the seasoning into it. You
Okay.
gotta give it amor. If you don't give amor to your food, then you're in the wrong industry. A lot of people just do it to make that extra dollar. They think, you know how many people I've seen, oh, I want to get into the food industry. I want to get a food truck and go start selling, and then just assemble and customize it or copy somebody else. I get that left and right, especially who have seen our food. I have a lot of vendors that we've gone to meet in the long run, and they end up taking our plates and copying them, but the flavor's not
What?
going to be there.
Oh man, straight stealing the dish out there, huh? Wow, that's crazy.
That's
Now,
it,
It's
baby,
war out
baby.
there.
that's what I was about to ask you too. What is your favorite dish to make, and how do you go about like creating something new and different that's better than everybody else's?
Oh, every single time I'm very competitive. Very, I don't like to be challenged because I'm the type of person that don't like to lose. Period. So I compete even with my own self. If I end up messing up sometimes or I screw up, I lecture myself. I'm hard at myself. When I see vendors come across me and, try to get acquaintance with me, and then in the long run, I see them again and they have the menu items that I had, I'm like, oh no. So then this one I get creative, because in this industry, there's a lot of taco vendors. There's too much competition. When you're signing up to be in a market or an event or a show, a lot of these coordinators will tell you, hey, we're booked in taco vendors. We are already full in this category because there's too much competition. So what I do is I contact the vendors. I go straight to the markets. I show them my product. I give it a twist or give them a full menu. There is no limit to what I could do. I modify my menu according to my markets, to my venues, to what they have, because the less you compete with these vendors, the more money and production you're gonna get. When there's too many
Mm.
taco vendors, you just don't make money. I've had to leave events because there's been too many taco vendors.
Man, they just always showing up, huh?
Yes.
Man. Um, so what would you say what would you think is most important, or the most important aspect about running uh your 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 food business and being successful at it?
The most important thing is dedication. That's the most important thing. Like I tell you, when I started this business, I started from
Mhm.
scratch. I did not know what I was doing. I've been in the restaurant business and I started with small caterings with customers that I had at the restaurants where I was working. Then it got started getting bigger and bigger, and then I said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna start buying a taco grill. I'm gonna do this, and then I started applying to these events left and right, not knowing what I was doing. I got shut down. You have no idea how many times, left and right. But I'm very persistent. I'm very dedicated to what I do, and I had too much to lose to gamble and just let it go. I had to make a success out of it. My first year, I think I did over 150 events in a year,
Man,
and I
that's a
started
lot.
as a pop up.
That's a lot of exposure right there.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. As a pop-up, huh? That's great.
Yes, 10 by 10 pop up with everything loading in my little Toyota and my fiance's Silverado. I kid you not, everybody would always tell us, how are you guys going to pack all that in there? How are you guys going to? We
Mhm.
managed. And sometimes we ran 38, 40 hours straight, show to show, event to event without sleeping.
So I'm glad you just brought that up, because that was my next question. Well, it's one of my next questions is how did you? Okay, so well, the question actually is, what was a challenging moment from making the creative process, getting your license and stuff, or was you cooking it in the kitchen first, and then you had to get the licenses, and then you know uh, got the money enough for a truck? Like like
Well,
like how did that experience?
yeah, well, I started off first as a pop up, like I told you, doing small caterings. And then when I decided to do the special events or, trying to sell at different locations, I didn't know the permits. I didn't know what I needed according to the health department, to the county lines. All I knew was register with the county clerk first, advertise your new business on the paper like you're supposed to, and get a resale. I thought that was it. Boy, was I wrong. You, I got hit left and right. It was like everybody else could do it and they got away with it, but as soon as I tried to do it, it backfired and stung me in the butt.
Man,
but but that's how I learned. The health department started talking to me. They started guiding me and directing me, and they knew because they did the inspections on me, and every single time it was flawless, no problems. But they did tell me that I had to register, get a TFF, get a permit for per event, and pay operations agreement with the health department so that it can be authorized. And then they come in to inspect you in every event so that you're up to temperatures, up to code. Everything's hand sanitized. You got a prep sink, you got a cleaning sink, you have a hand washing sink, you have
man,
everything according to what they need. And as long as you're not in violation and every inspection comes through, they know you're good. And that's why they help you, they guide you. The health department's not there to backlash on you or go against you making a business. They're there to help you, but you need to understand you got to go according to their guidelines.
right, right, and that's a challenge in itself, because everything's cost and everything has a timeline, right?
Correct. And
Mhm.
every county is different, every city. Riverside has their own regulations, San Bernardino has their own regulations, LA has their own regulations, San Diego has their own regulations. Everywhere you go and do events, that's one of the things I learned. I already know what each department and each county wants and what they want it up to code to be able to participate, to be able to go forward.
Man, yeah, that sounds like a lot. It sounds like
It
a
is.
lot of restrictions, and you got to keep up with that stuff. I'm gonna ask you about one more question or something like that, and then pass it back to Keith. So we pretty much go back and forth. Can you share, if it's not no big secret, what are like one of your unique ingredients that make your uh, food pops and more tastier than everybody else's dish?
My salsas.
The sauces.
Yeah. And I don't give out the recipes.
That's the secret salsa. Huh?
It's the salsa. I kid you not. It's the salsa, baby. It's the way you roast those tomatoes, the ratio of the tomatoes for the green salsa, the jalapenos, the onions, the garlic, the seasonings. For the red salsa, how to roast your serranos, how to roast the tomatillos, the garlics, your Japanese peppers, and roast them to make sure they ignite and get into fire.
Man,
Not losing the flavor.
man, do you deliver? Man, that sounded like
I will soon enough. I'm in the venture of starting a new business, so hopefully that's
yeah,
that's in the long run.
yeah, yeah. Keith, you got some?
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm listening to you. So I think I want to go back a little bit and kind of talk about your childhood as far as you saying you're working with your family and working at a young age in there and working your way up. Can you tell me what was some of your like you know some of the things you learned during that time, and what were some of the things you didn't like?
Well, I didn't like a lot of it. I could tell you that. Uh, Growing up under the circumstances that I did, it was very tough being a minority and with our race being kind of like jammed down and pointed fingers at, not given the opportunity, or just look the other way when you try to speak up. It was very difficult, especially with the kind of parent stability that I had at home. It was very tough. My dad was not part of it for a long time. He was missing. He was MIA for a long time, into drugs. Beat my mom a lot of times when he was doing that. A womanizer, brought women home, and it was just a rough childhood. I hated it. I hated it, hiding from being evicted and being. We lived in the car. We collected trash cans in the parks. I mean, learning to basically be homeless for a long time and to tolerate it and to go to school and pretend like nothing was going on was very rough for me.
Mm, yeah.
Well, a lot of the things that we learn as we grow up, we try not to repeat, right? It's kind of like one of
Correct.
those things when we have our family, we want to make sure we don't do those same things, especially like when you're talking about father not being there, or especially your family trying to run a business that's such while you were so young. What did you learn from them, or from your mom, or the family member as far as business? How
Um,
did you see business when you got to be 14 years old?
I really didn't learn from my mom and my dad. They were very old school tradition from Mexico. So their traditions and their views in life were very close minded. I That's the part I hated. One of the things I hated it most. It was one of my tias, my aunts, that got me into working with her in the swap meets when I was very young. And I started to have to hustle, grind, do the thing, and start earning money to bring it home to be able to feed my brother and my sister and help my mom out. And then I ended up taking candy bars to school, hiding them in my backpack, and selling them so that I can bring more extra cash as well. I guess in life, I always have been. That's the one thing that I do like from this childhood, that it's taught me that the circumstances and the situations that you live through life have two routes. They can either break you or make you and mold you to the stronger person that you want to be, in order to avoid that past and stop that cycle. And I think that's what it did with me. I made my stumbles, I made a few hiccups, but I believe that in the long run, it has molded me to being the strong, independent woman that I have been, that I am now, and I
Right.
can be able to provide and not give up. I have a lot of thick calluses on my skin because of my childhood, and I'm very thankful for that now.
Right. Just made you stronger.
Yeah, that just makes you stronger, and that's and your culture, and I know in my culture as well. There's a lot to be said for people who come up from that type of abusive type of way that was, not only because our parents may have been closed-minded, but the way we were treated about, opportunities and not having opportunities to do those things, and having to do what you said was an important thing, hustle, because the hustle was always on. It's a constant movement of trying to make money for yourself, for your family, and just to have the littlest things that that some of your peers may have had. So I really kind of connect with you on that type of upbringing and understanding that. So one of the other things I like to know is when you were, going through your struggles and then you became an adult, was it anywhere that you decided that maybe you were going to be in business, or this happened later on in life, your business entrepreneur experience?
It happened, God, you know what? I think it happened, it's been like that since I can remember. Even nowadays, my friends and my family's like, you're working too hard, you're doing too much, you need a break. But I've been molded this way so long that I don't know how to rest. I don't know how to stop. I don't even think I can ever retire, to be honest. People have asked me, what will happen if you ever win the lottery? I think I will invest in another business and then just keep working
Yep.
because I don't know how to stop. I love what I do. That's what I'm molded with, and I'm always thinking about new ideas. Ever since I was little, I started working. Then I had my kids, and I worked 3 jobs at a time. Went to school, and still got home. And I was in this neighborhood where it was full of our culture, our community. So I would make handmade donuts. I would make nachos and churros and all these kind of different variety of food, and go walking with my baby in the stroller and sell the food.
Man.
Wow, wow. That's something to be not only proud of, but that is it's a strong will to continue to provide for your family and to try to show them. I'm sure you show your kids what type of mom they had when she's out there in a stroller pushing them to try to to sell those those extra items to make money. So so what do your kids think? Or do they help you nowadays in your business? Are they a part of the business?
They
What is
have
that
helped
relationship
me.
now?
It's a good relationship. My boys have grown to be good kids. They went to school, and they went to, one is retired from the military. When I was in the restaurant business for a long time and I didn't have a babysitter, they would go and sit in a booth. And if I didn't have enough bussers or a busser was called out, those kids learned how to serve tables, bus tables, and my own customers would tip them. They learned how to work when they were very young as well. And my son right now is the district manager for a large store. Always has been a hard worker. And when he's off, he'll text me and call me and say, Mom, what event are you doing this weekend? I can come and help. The other
Right.
one's military retired, and he's got a good career. He's an engineer for the state that he lives in right now, and raising his kids to be independent as well.
Right.
Wow,
Right.
wow, wow. So, did you have a brick and mortar store before? Or was it always through the pop up? I mean, recently. I mean, but have you had a brick and mortar where you had
I
a
had a brick and
restaurant
mortar,
where
two
people
of
came
them.
in and ate?
Two of them. I had two of them.
Wow.
The first one was in 2008, and it was a mom and pops. It was a breakfast and lunch cafe.
Hmm.
And then
Okay.
it backfired with the landlord. Disagreements came about, and they couldn't afford to repair something. So a forced shutdown had to be in place. And with this business that we're currently with, before COVID in 2018, I established it, I believe, 2018, 2017. And we actually had a set in business. It was like two restaurants in one in Paris, and it was next to an Alberto's.
Mm,
And the owner of the place always tried to shut me down because there was too much competition for that restaurant, which was his. And then at the end, in the long run, he sold from under us, and I got to meet the new owner of the building. He came in one day and didn't even know who we were, while we've been paying our lease for almost a year. So we ended up
wow,
leaving that place. Yeah. But I think it was a blessing in
wow,
disguise
wow. So
because
you
it was a blessing in disguise
no, go
because it
ahead,
was
man.
right before COVID. And if it wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't have made it.
Right.
Mm. I hear a lot about COVID, man.
Oh,
But COVID just seems to have either done one or two things. Either a lot of people fell, or a lot of people was able to rise with their businesses and with
yes.
new opportunities. And if you were one of those places that were able to be on the go, or was able to have an extension to your restaurant where people could come outside and sit, then it was you were able to make money. So during COVID, what was the biggest part of your business that you were able to do? Was it that you were mobile, or was it that
We
you
were
had an
not doing
outside
nothing.
venue?
With COVID, it literally shut down the business. We started doing first bars that needed a restaurant to stay open. But then the county of Riverside, the health department, started getting stricter through that time, and they didn't want vendors from another county to come into different counties. So that regulated it a lot. So I ended up literally doing nothing through that COVID. But the blessing was that I'm a server and a bartender. So I got into the restaurant business. Jobs were popping, and I got hired. And God, I worked, I think, more hours than through COVID than I do now or before COVID.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I can see that as being a lot. Talk a little bit about the new things that you're doing since you've gotten the truck, you've gotten the meals on wheels, so to speak. How do
Mhm.
you like that, and do you find that to be better than the brick and mortar? How do you compare that for what you're doing now?
It's way better. It's way better in the fact and the perspective that you have less overhead, less utilities. You don't have to hit and miss if it's going to be a busy day or not. Just the overhead itself and the utilities are extremely ridiculous. Commercial billing is way different than residential. And with the vendors, being a vendor, a food vendor, you go to travel, you spend the gas and the stuff, your overhead is minimal, you schedule according to your venues. And I kid you not, I get a lot of feedback and a lot of foot traffic through those vendor venues that you make more than a common restaurant would do in one day.
Wow,
Right.
wow. Wow, that's exciting because I always there used to be in LA. I don't know if you've ever been. There used to be a roach coach convention, so to speak. They used to have it in LA, and they would have 200, 300 different roach coach or trucks that are like yours that do vending. Have you been to anything like that, or a big old vendor event that just had nothing but other types of
Oh, yeah.
food vendors or food trucks and things like that? Tell me a little
Yes,
bit about how you like that.
I love it. You know what? I love the adventure. I like the traveling. I like the different venues, meeting new people. You get to meet so many different types of vendors, so many different types of people. You get the good ones and the bad ones. You get to read them out and know who to kind of guard yourself from and not. You get to see new locations, see new experiences. We've done the San Bernardino Air Show, the Redlands Hangar 24 Air Show. We've done the Lake Elsinore Grand Prix. We've done the Taco Fest in Elsinore as well. And boy, those are huge. We did Simi Valley Tamale Fest. Those
Mhm.
venues where you're getting 40, 50 vendors, if not more, and everybody's buried 30, 40 deep for hours.
Man.
Wow. Wow. So when you get that kind of crowd, and have you ran into some issues like I ran out of food, or You just have to shut down because you don't have anything, and you just beat yourself in the head saying, "Man, look all that money sitting out there waiting for me." But oh, we're out of this or we're out of that. And me,
I'm
I
glad you
love
bring that
tamales.
up. I'm glad you bring that up because I'm that crazy that okay, when we first started the business, the first year I told you I did 150 events. Events like that where I would sell out. I would start at 5 in the morning. By 9 o'clock, I would do 150, 200 breakfast burritos. 1 o'clock, I was already sold out. I sent it my partner out. He drove 2, 3 miles, even walked to go get me cases of fries, extra cheese. I called the stores and ordered my meat, told them how I wanted it cut by, I mean, pounds of it, pounds, because I was not going to stop selling. I was going to continue no matter what. And by then, I had a 24-inch grill. I was cooking 10 pounds of meat while I was doing quesadillas and tacos, and I got live streamed a lot.
Yeah.
I don't
Wow.
money.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but see, the thing is, I had a restaurant years ago, and we lost it trying to feed the South Bay jail. So that was just, we just didn't plan for it. We didn't have enough. Our minds wasn't big enough to understand just 500 people meals. Just giving them meals. So when you think about what you're doing and having to have all of that extra stuff on hand, um, I just can't imagine it. So have you run into something where people have just decided that, what, your business is not what we want in certain areas when you do certain events? Have you had any issues that way or
To be honest, in the years that I've had, I think I've had two people get upset because they didn't want to wait over their food, knowing how busy we are. But I've been blessed and thank God that I have not had that issue. I've catered to the hospitals. We've done the Rancho Springs Hospital, Wildermere Hospital, and out of venues that we've done, they've contracted us from there, and we've done thousands of people in catering. Like I tell you, I've been blessed with that. I like to keep consistency and quality. Yes, I have run out. I don't care what it takes. I will call the stores nearby. Before I do an event, I always Google my near stores, what's available, where I can get my items just in case I run out. And I'm prepared. And I leave my truck and I leave everything and I have people ready for it. I've had my POS shut down, no Wi-Fi. I've had cooks walk out in the middle of a storm where I've
That's
had to walk in and do my own thing. I mean, you tell me about experiences and problems, and you know how it is running a business, a restaurant, especially like you said, you had one. You're always gonna expect the unexpected and be prepared to take over. I've had to jump in for as a dishwasher, get in line with my cooks, pre make more stuff, go to the store, run and get more stuff, whatever it takes to keep working.
wow, I have one more
determination.
question. One more question. I'm gonna pass it to Razak, but you mentioned that, and I start thinking about, I was shy when I first started in the restaurant business. I was shy to even see people eat my food because I thought it was like, man, they eat my food. Oh my God. And I wouldn't go out there because it was just a weird feeling that, oh, we love that. Who cooked this? And I'm like, I sit back in the back and start chopping up onions or something because I wasn't the front guy for the food. How did you get over that? Or if you had that kind of anxiety about being the front person for your business?
I've been always afraid. When I started the business, I've always been afraid. When I took the gamble, I had all my life savings to invest and I did it. And I was terrified. And now that I'm starting this new business that I'm doing, because I'm selling this food truck and getting another one to get a different industry and then create and host my own venues and my own festivals. But every step and long run in creating a new business and joining a venture and starting it is very scary. But like I told you from the beginning, I don't like to quit. I don't like to lose. And I challenge myself. And I make those fears that I have inside of me push me, become strength, and become a source of fierceness that pushes me to pull forward.
Hmm. It's
Well,
nice.
I'm gonna tell you, they didn't push me, man. My fears was like, woo, Lord, let's run,
I'm
let's
gonna
get
have
out
to
of
take
here.
you to work with me one day. How do you do the podcast then? It's the
Well,
same
we-
thing. You know, it's the
Yeah.
same thing as doing a podcast.
well,
You don't know what kind of feedback or remark or feedback you're gonna get from the
well,
customers
you
or
know,
people that are
well,
engaging.
I'm older now. I'm older now. Now it's a big,
Don't give me no
it's not as big a
excuses,
deal as it
mister.
was.
You gotta get to work
Yeah.
and run.
No, yeah, that's
Well,
a good
if
point
you
because
want to
we
sell,
don't know what you're going to say. We don't know what you're going to say
because
or how
I'm
you're going to
thinking
say
here,
it.
if you're
That's
gonna sell
true.
that truck, I'm thinking about going back into business. If you're gonna get rid of that
Hey,
truck
you
you
know
got
where to
trailer
find
you
me,
got there.
baby. You know where to find me.
Yeah, well,
Because I'm
shoot.
gonna buy
Well, we got to
another one.
talk.
This one
We're
that
gonna
I
have to
have,
talk off.
yes, this one I got it. I bought it cash, but the one before we started as a pop up, and then I got so tired. My fiance and I were running stuff and loading stuff. It got worn out. I mean, it basically beat us to death. Till I said no more. I bought a cargo trailer, custom design. Then I had in my head hybrid pop ups with a rooftop, silver mesh screen, and he designed it, built it for me. And the health department called us the first hybrid in the Riverside County ever built. And after that, you'll see here and there a few of them now because they copied my design. But I designed the first
Whoa,
hybrid in the Riverside County.
Oh, yeah.
whoa! Look at this. Well, I will be talking to you about that trailer behind you because I might have to take my little hobby on the road because I cook, but I'm
Well, if
willing
I
to
come and
get
see you, you
back
better
out
not be
there.
hiding in the back shopping onions.
No. I'll be right out there with my apron on like you
I'm gonna
were.
make
I'm gonna
sure
be
you
just
are.
as
I'm gonna make you come out.
yes. Yeah, I know you ain't shy. Razak, you better take her over for me right now. I need a break right now, man. I gotta start thinking about looking at some of these pictures right here. I'm getting hungry.
Man, I was going to ask you. I was wondering, coming from. I mean, you have a lot of experience already in the food industry, starting at 14 or 8 to 14. Younger as a teen and all that stuff. Then coming to your business. I want to know how do you what is the mentality that you have now that you brought with you from all those experiences, hustling, doing all that stuff. I know you say you be going, you don't want to stop, but what is the mental mind state that you always has to consistently be in order to run your business, do the family, take care of everybody, be the head of the household in a sense, and still have time for a relationship. You know what I mean?
It's tough. It's tough. I kid you not. It's sometimes I get weary, and there's moments where I've had my moments, and I just want to scream. I'll want to cry. Sometimes I just want to quit. But once I vent out and I just let it go, and my fiance kind of, he's my very hard supporter rock, and he's been like a mentor and my right hand. No matter what the circumstances are, when he saw me weak and I didn't want to keep continuing, having somebody there next to you that can be your supportive partner has a lot to do with how far you can get in business. And if it wouldn't have been for him, I wouldn't have pushed myself when I was at weak points, when I just wanted to give up. So I'm very thankful to have him on my side.
Right. Right. Yeah, I always like to hear stories where even if it's your business, but he's still supportive and pushing you along and helping you with the business. He's not one of your cooks or nothing. He doesn't does he
Oh,
does he
hell no, baby. No. No,
you
no, 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 no. You keep him out of the kitchen.
keep him
Okay.
out of the kitchen.
You want to keep the trailer and not get it on fire or anything like that? Please, Lord.
Oh man, he's that
Hmm.
bad.
He knows how to
Oh,
eat it, but he don't know how to cook it.
uh, I heard that.
He's a builder. He's a machinist. He'll build whatever I want. And he can, by cooking, no. Mm-mm.
I heard that. I heard that. Do,
Shoot, I
do, do
wouldn't
you
want
do
to
you
cook
ever
like
have
that. I
any?
got somebody cook that good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was that?
What'd you say, Gabe?
No, I just said I wouldn't want to cook either if I had somebody like you. I'd just sit back.
Oh, you're going to be cooking. You already put yourself out there. So there's no stepping back on you.
Uh, do you ever have any like I mean, I've seen your plates. I mean, I've seen a couple of pictures of your plates, and I think uh, uh, he shared one of the little videos. I think he was making something when he first seen you. Do you have like challenges of like all you can eat with your food or like that? Because
Mhm.
it seems like you might have a competition on your hands right there with the amount that you have.
Oh, I have a few competitions out there always, and I'm always going to have it. That's part of being in the business. And I think that no matter what kind of business you are, you're always going to have that competitor, that one that's always going to be a snake in the grass or wanting to come up behind you and get your ideas and steal it from under you. Yeah, it was a 15-pound burrito and it had everything. It was a smorgasbord in itself. And I had a competition for, especially for teenage kids. It came football players. I'm like, okay, finish this in 15 minutes and or less in one sitting, and we can get you.
Oh
And
man,
it'll be on us.
Oh, nobody could
a
do that.
15-pound burrito
15
in 15
pounds,
minutes.
15 minutes.
There was one kid that almost did it. God, I was always like, wow, how do you do that? But left this much,
Oh
I mean,
man,
this much, and he just couldn't do it no more. I'm like,
man,
dude,
that
it's
Oh
just a
sounds
little
man,
bit
messy
more. And
right
he's like,
there. That is
you should have
crazy.
said 20
I couldn't
minutes.
imagine
That
that.
would have been fair.
ah, hey, these
30
kids came
minutes.
all, I'm going to do it. I can do it. I can eat whatever I want. Okay. Don't tell me
Man,
you up for a challenge because I'm going to put you up for a challenge.
yeah, that'll bring in
Wow,
some
that's
customers
crazy.
right
That's
there. That'll bring in some
crazy.
customers. Does it?
Yeah, I
Do
see
you
that.
have a food that you a dish that you've created that has a story behind it of why you created it? And if you do, what is
Um,
it?
it was the asada fries, was ranchero fries, my ranchero shrimp fries. And both of those were basically all the time. It was because of competitors, too many people trying to copy it, or we were doing venues on multiple events, and they would always, 2 3 events later, they came up and they were selling the same item I had. So here I come, I modify it, give it my own twist. I add my own seasonings, give a twist to my nacho, add more different ingredients, and then my ranchero shrimp fries. Those babies were beyond. They were the garlic
Hmm.
battered shrimp, garlic butter fries. They had the jalapeno cheese, my
Mm,
special secret ranchero sauce, and it had garlic buttered grilled shrimp, sour
mm-hmm,
cream, guacamole, pico de gallo, and chives on top, extra cheese on
mm.
top. They were phenomenal, and the taste was beyond. I kid you not, I had a recipe book, so quote unquote, back when I was in the sublease with Alberto's and when I was having problem with a prior leaser that I had. And they tried to copy the recipe, but I did not put in the right recipe, honey. Okay, because I knew what I was looking at. They
Man,
mimicked that exact recipe, but it wasn't the right one. And I knew they were going to go for that.
man,
Wow.
the whole time I was thinking, aren't you able to like I guess patent is the only thing I could think of or
It's
trademark or
just so
something like that
expensive.
your
It's
ingredients or your
Mhm.
dish?
Everybody tells me bottle your sauce, bottle your ranchero, but it's so expensive to do that. I mean, I know a vendor right now that he got so lucky. He was doing hot dogs. He went to Vegas, I believe, and he started giving samples to Sprouts and different stores of his chili until he got bought out, and now he's only bottling for those stores. But it takes a lot of money, and the way he did it is because he came across to an inheritance, and it cost him over $600,000 to get this going.
Damn,
Yeah,
that doesn't
it takes
sound.
money to make money, which
Well,
I can't really complain because as low as I started and as small as I've gone, and to be able to be where I'm at right now, it's not a big thing, but it's an
Mhm.
accomplishment in itself because the amount of people that have told me you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna make it, you might as well give up, you're never gonna be nothing. And to be where
Wow,
I'm at right now, it's a satisfaction in itself.
wow, it's crazy that people would do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I was going to ask you too. You kind of said it, but I'm not too sure. Is it more okay? So you said Mexico from this where you guys are from, right, and all that. But is all your dishes mainly? like a cultural dishes or
No,
cultural from the ingredients? Is it just how
no,
do you?
baby. I change it a lot. Like when I started having a lot of people mimic my food recently in the past year, I introduced my Inferno fries. I introduced the Irish fries, which and my Nashville fries. I mean, the Nashville roll taquitos. I started doing a lot of different modifications. I can
Mm,
even do homemade country fried steak. I at the restaurant I had homemade biscuits. I had homemade gravy, and then I did the breakfast French toast sandwich. I could do a lot of stuff. I molded and modify it according to each venue.
oh, okay, okay.
Whoa,
Do you have any? Do you have any type
whoa,
of?
whoa, whoa.
He's hungry.
Baby, you
I'm
should have eaten before we did
sorry.
this.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry,
No,
man.
it
This
sounds
is
good
too
though.
much.
I'm just
It's
It's
too
really
much,
good.
man. I
I
can
kid you
hardly
not.
take this.
If you
yeah.
got wooed over my fries,
Uh,
wait until you should have tasted my waffle breakfast sandwich
uh,
with a homemade
Waffle
country fried
breakfast
steak
sandwich.
in it. Okay, baby? And
Yeah.
that's all homemade.
Yeah, well,
uh,
yeah, we're gonna have to visit you. We're gonna have to visit you. Is there any type of
oh my
traditional
God.
or a ritual that you go through before you start the day and start get the cooking? Is there a prayer or something that you do
Oh
before you
yes.
start?
Yes.
Yes.
I know that a lot of people are not into religion, but this is my right and my belief. And people
Hmm.
can call our God different things, a Buddha, a Taoism, whatever they want to call it. For me, I put myself in the Lord every morning. I meditate. I ask Him to send His angels to shield over me, to give me the strength to be able to go through the day, make the money I need to make, and keep growing as I have. That I know that without Him, nobody can get in my way. It'll be stumps and everything. And whatever stopped in my way, even though I'm a stubborn mule and I don't see it at the moment, I know it's for my best purpose.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all gotta have that.
Do
We all gotta
do
have that. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always gonna have that. A lot of and it seems like it's not like a spiritual thing, but I think we had talked to one gentleman before where he was saying that you're kind of because you had said it earlier, your dishes are big, your plates are big, so it's kind of like do you feel like in the sense that you can be saving lives, what I mean, from the dishes that you have, because if one dish can feed, more than, or at least two people, what I mean, because I seen that one, I think it was some fries or something you was making, you was throwing the chili on it and stuff like that. I was like,
My
man, was that
asada
just
fry.
for one person? He's like, yeah, that was just for one person. I'm like, oh, okay. So, what I mean, like when you said from people, from having the experience of homelessness in a sense and being hungry, and now it's plentiful, because a lot of people, what they will do is they'll have those leftovers or stuff that's uncooked. I've worked in the food industry before, being like a hot cook and doing things of that nature, and a lot of times at the end of the day, when those foods and stuff that nobody bought, or what I mean, nobody want to dish out, they would just throw it away. What I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like and it's different for you guys, right? Do you have like a
It's
way
very
that you?
different. Yeah. It's even at home. Even at home, I get even raising my children and my brother and my sister. It was like, I hate to throw food away. I hate not being able to, go through the meals and having to discard it. I've always been eat more, or I'll give away. I mean, I don't mind if I know that a neighbor or I have a person out there that can afford it, or I see in these events sometimes homeless digging to trash cans. It breaks my heart. It does break my heart and it tears me apart. And I don't mind. I'll go and I'll send one of my workers and I'll make them a dish and feed them. And I don't. It's just heartbreaking for me. I hate it. I cannot stand it. I It makes me want to cry, and it just tears me apart. It's the poverty, seeing the homelessness, and I understand that there's a lot of addiction and people who choose to live like this out there, but there's also a lot of people who have no choice, and I put it up there in the hands of the Lord. And if my gut and my instinct is telling me feed this person, I will feed them. And there's people that I bumped into it and I just get this awful feeling and it says no. They're not gonna want the food, they want alcohol or drugs. And I'll
Right.
go into the store and offer them plate, I'll buy them something. And when they turn me down and they say, no, I want the money, then I won't feed them because I know that's for an addiction.
Right.
But I'll
Right.
go out of my way. I'm sometimes shopping for the events and I see homeless out there, even their dogs. I kid you not. I'll finish my shopping, go back into the store, buy the food, and go hand them a plate of food and for their dog. I can't bear the thought of people starving.
Yeah.
I know the feeling. I've seen my siblings look at me with those eyes of wanting something from the elote man when the neighbors were buying and we couldn't afford it. And I guess that's part of why I work so hard and why I push so hard to be where I'm at because I promised myself that I was not going to allow myself to ever live like that again.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was. You pretty much answered because that's where I was going with it. Having like some kind of charity, any that you may do, having the food left over and stuff like that. Because I know in the food industry, a lot of those things can only be out for a certain amount of time, right?
Yes.
The exposure to air and stuff like that, and maybe if you put some stuff away to remake it, if only if it's possible or if it's healthy, and
Well,
that's the other thing.
yeah,
Mm.
with the health department, you can really do that. Even corporations, big stores that I work with, they have so much food and they can't, even though even employees cannot take it home because of health regulations. But what I do with my events, because it's a different circumstance and we have to discard the food at each event, whatever's left over, uh, I package and I prep. I make burritos, I make whatever's in. I give my employees food to take home. I feed people out there that are needing it. I feed vendors because I know that I'm going to have leftovers. I don't want to take nothing home. I'm not going to throw away food. I hate throwing away food. So I'd rather
Mhm.
feed somebody.
Right. Yeah, that's always best. That's always best. That's always best. It's one last little thing to pass the back to Chris. Uh, okay, so with the health people, is there? Do you make your dishes according to any type of health type of thing? Like if somebody allergic to somebody, do you have like a menu or some kind of warning that what
Yes,
some of the ingredients are?
we do. People come and ask and they say, is it crossed with nuts or fish or they can't have it? They come to us directly and we tell them, yeah, it's already contaminated. It's been crossed with shrimp or anything. And if they want something with no onions, there is a sanitation process for the grill and modifications can be made if they are talking if they come directly with us and tell us about it. We do keto, we do vegan, we do vegetarian, pescatarian, etc.
All those Tarians, and you do all that.
Yes, there's a lot out there.
It's an Aryan in
I like
it.
my cow and I like it wagging its tail.
uh,
That's
what they
right.
call those
That's right.
a
Make sure.
That's
carnivore,
right.
huh?
Yes, I am. I cannot. My son has tried to tell me, Mom, why didn't you become a vegan? I'm like, excuse me, boy, are you crazy? Uh-uh. I am not giving away
Yeah.
my food. Uh-uh.
Man.
No way.
uh,
No way. That's for
Keith.
sure. Yeah.
It's on
I
you.
think just the excitement that comes out of you about what you're doing and how you go about your business, and I know that comes across to everybody that you talk to or buy your food, because it's the same way it comes across when I met you. When I first met you, come on in here, let me show you what I got. So I see
Mhm.
that that in you, and I'm just so happy that that is your personality. That's who you are, and you love your cow, you love your beef and everything. But man, do you make tamales?
Yes,
Are
we
you a
do. It's
tamale
seasonal
maker,
only,
or
baby. So don't make no orders right now because I ain't got time to. It's seasonal and it's only through the
how can
holidays.
what?
Yeah, what?
Season.
You
You
can't.
want to add on more to my
Yeah,
plate right now, baby? I don't think so. Wait until the holidays, then we could talk. Now, there's
The
one thing
it's
I
holidays.
okay.
did.
So it's a holiday dish.
Yes, it is for me at least. It's too much I have on my plate right now, so I gotta minimize it and be able to function and be productive at the same time. But there is one thing I did want to mention to you, like you said about feeding the homeless and whatnot. I did
Hmm.
send you guys a flyer for an event that I'm starting. I'm going to be doing on June 15. And this is for the sole purpose of feeding and contributing and getting donations for our combat vets. I'm a lifetime member of the auxiliary for the post 226 in San Jacinto, and we're getting ready to do an event there. We have local vendors and we have a car show, live entertainment, but donations will be attributed and accepted throughout this event. And just alone for our
Oh,
combat
great.
vets.
Okay.
Great, great. How do you
Okay.
get
That's
in there? I mean,
that's.
how do you get? I mean, as a
It's
podcast, I
open
like
to
to be able
public.
to. Okay,
It's open to
okay,
public, and I sent you guys the flyer with more information.
okay.
Where's it
I do
at?
have that. I
Oh, you
have it.
have
I'll
it.
send it. I think
Okay.
I sent it to you. I think I sent it to you, Razak.
All right. Let me see.
I think I
Yeah,
sent it to
that'd be
you.
cool.
I look forward to that. When you said car show, I'm in it because I'm from the old school. I'm used to the different car shows I went to. They were lowrider shows that I did a lot of. So that was my time.
This has
Do they
been
have that?
a hard market to get going for the same reason that, like I tell you, people don't know you. They are scared. They have been through many markets that have backtracked and failed on them. This market is completely free to my vendors. This is part of the new business that I'm going to be starting up soon. And I want them to get a test drive and let them know that I'm here for them. This is a market that is going to be contributed for our vendors in our community, and that's going to be the whole purpose of this new business. So this is going to be a test drive, and I want people to come and enjoy, bring the family, be supportive of our local vendors as well as our BFW.
All right.
We'll do for sure, for sure. Can you tell me a little bit of a defining moment that you've been through? What was one of your defining moments?
Defining moments is in regards. I'm sorry, I don't understand you.
Well, just like something that you've been through or something that happened that made you realize, wow, this is something I need to think about, in my life, whether it was something personal or whether it was something in your business or somebody you met when you were out on the streets that just gave you a defining moment as to changing your life a little bit and putting
Oh,
you on a different direction.
there has been a defining moment in my life. It was a little bit personal, but I guess I can tell you guys since it's part of letting people know where I come from and my roots. I know there's going to be a lot of people who will probably have their own opinions on things, but being a single person and growing up in the childhood that I did and in the criteria of our culture, at one point in my life, I did fall into being homeless again with my children because of a divorce that I was going through and ended up in the drug world. This was back in 98, 99, I believe. God, I was young. But that was a very hard defining moment for me because at that point, I had no food. I had my babies in diapers, no formula. I could not get the help that I needed. I felt completely lost. I was going through severe depression. I went through a suicide attempt. And if it wasn't because of the circumstances that I ended up going through, that I got saved. And when I finally recovered, I made a promise upstairs that you can make a lot of promises to a lot of people. You can give your handshake or do a lot of contracts that a lot of people are willing to break and not keep and complete. But when, in my belief, when you make a promise to the man upstairs, you don't break it. I came to find him after me losing him, and I retaliated against him, blamed him for everything that happened in my life. But I found him at this point, and there was a breaking point where I got on my knees and I cried so hard with no breath, no more strength, no more tears in me. That when I got cleaned up, I stayed away from the people that I was around. I got my kids back, and it made me push harder and harder. And I said, never again. And ever since then, which has been almost 25 years sober and clean, I have yet to turn back, and I don't plan to.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's an important thing, not only for us as podcast host and hostess, it's for the viewers as well, because there's a lot of people out there that are in business and have these different struggles and have these different things that were in their past, and it kind of hamper them from being able to take off with their ideas. You know what I mean? They're sitting on the couch and they have good ideas. They're able to do certain things, and they think they can't because of all of the things, stigma and all these other things that people think about them, and they're afraid to go out there and do that. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us, because that helps all of us to be able to say we can do better, and that we can fulfill some of the things in our dream, and that just I really thank you for that. And
No problem.
I like to ask you about role models. Have you came across any role models along the way, that was really something you hang on to even to today?
I guess my own life experience has been my own role model. It's pushed me so hard that I'm so hard on myself that you have no idea. Out here, as I'm doing the live podcast, as I'm working, when I bartend during the week, is I put on a different face. I walk into those doors and I go in with a work mentality. I go in with my mindset to make the money, get productive, show 110% out of myself, and give the best of me. And if I failed to do that and I ever let my personal circumstances interfere with that production, I beat on myself real hard for that. And one part of the things that I want to tell people out there, if you have a dream and if you want to do something, don't let any circumstances or obstacles get in your way, because your heart, your mindset, and your willpower, regardless of every other obstacle in the way, can be achieved if you put your mind to it. Give it your heart, give it your passion, give it your desire and determination, and I guarantee you, you will succeed.
Right. Right.
Praise God for that. Praise
Yeah.
God for that. In coming up with the things that you're going to be doing with your new business and all of the other you know new challenges that you're coming up with the way you're pursuing your life now, is there a bucket list or something that you're trying to put these things in? Not a bucket list before you go away or anything, just a bucket list of things that you're working
Mm.
on, that you're trying to make sure you accomplish right now.
Yes, it's getting this other business established, get this business sold, start a new food truck with a different completely menu, easier for me so that I could start just running it, managing it, instead of working it so hard. I think I've done my share of working hard for it. It's established, and now it's time for me to integrate into a business where I can work smarter and not harder, and direct it, be more of a director, and let it venture and grow more so that I can expand it, be able to retire in 10 years, and secure my grandbabies.
Hey, got to secure those grandbabies. They looking up at you every time they see you over there working hard. They know that that's something that they're going to end up doing too in their life. So what's your passion and hobbies? What are some of the things you're doing for fun? What are you How do you
I
break down
like
some of those days?
I like going to hike. I like going to the ocean a lot. I love nature. I do my hikes. I go to the mountains, camp. I go swimming, barbecuing at the ocean, go to the pier. Just the fact that I have a connection with earth and the wind and the water, hearing, it's an accomplishment itself. Another one that I just started and I have the blessing to do is go to Disneyland. Eh, I did not go to Disneyland when I was a child. I was, like I tell you, I was very poor. So there's still a little inner child in me that I go act like a little kid, and I enjoy it. I get to be that child that I was not allowed to be, and enjoy myself now.
Right. Right. So it's good. So it's good. Mm.
Well, Then one day you'll be able to say, I'm going to Disneyland. Magic Mountain is
Yes.
my Magic Mountain.
I say when I
Magic
have a
Mountain.
good
I
event
love
and my
Magic Mountain.
employees ask me, "What are you going to do this weekend?" I'm going to Disneyland.
Disneyland. That's right. That's right. You tell them. So let me ask you about a life lesson. I mean, you've talked a little bit about your life lessons. Can you be a little bit more, you know, um, say a little bit more about your life lesson and talk a little bit about it that really makes you feel like, this was my life lesson.
My life lesson was always have your guard up, trust people to a point, but not 100%. There's always a window to how much you can trust somebody. And this has been a life lesson in the long run, personally and financially, and in the workplace. I've been backstabbed, trade. I've almost lost my company because of that. And taught me how to be on guard, always be prepared to have the unexpected, and to have a competitor to always be able to rise up to that competition and override what they brought. Sadly,
Yes.
unfortunately, your own race and your own culture are the first ones to bash you down. So if you have something in mind and you have something in plan, try to keep it to yourself. There's only so much you could tell people, because there's always going to be that hate, that envy, that jealousy. If people don't see you succeed, it makes them happy. But if they hear you are struggling, it makes them content. So sometimes keeping your enemies closer and letting them know that you're struggling and keeping them content with that, it helps you achieve a little step higher.
Yeah, I think I'm with you right there, because not everybody's gonna ride with you. Not
No,
everybody's gonna jump on the ship with you, and some your haters are gonna be there, and you gotta keep that in a real kind of balanced place, not too high where they could start trying to tear you down, but not too low to make them feel like you ain't moving. It's just a balance, though, that when they see it, they'll be like, "How did you get there?" Well, you ain't been watching me all this time.
yeah,
If you knew about, you would know what type of person I was. I was going to get there eventually. So
yeah. And mind you, everybody's
I
entitled to
really
grow and
thank you for
achieve.
that.
Yeah, everybody's entitled to grow and achieve. Everybody has a right. I'm all for that. If you got something, go for it. But you always gotta guard yourself with everybody that's gonna try to hurt you, because they are out there. I'm not saying go and fight everybody, go and react or retract with something negative. Always try to help somebody, but always know that in the back of the head, there's always gonna be something you gotta guard yourself with.
Right.
Right. Well, my
Definitely
last
feel you on
question for
that one.
now, then we get into some of your product. Give me what's your legacy you would like to leave behind? What are some of the things that you wanting to leave as a legacy, or what is the legacy and how you see it?
I want the legacy of our culture, being a minority, being a Latina woman, and for people who have recovered, for single moms out there who have children that have raised on their own, for people who have believed or gone through PTSD, depression, some of the things that I have dealt in my life, those structures that people deal with. I want to be able to leave that legacy to other people in those categories, to know that one succeeded if you put your mind to it. That we can succeed, we can overcome those obstacles, those hiccups, and those things that have traumatized us, that have impacted us in our life, become our tool of strength, become our tool of growth, instead of becoming our tool of failure.
Hmm.
Amen. Amen
Man,
on
that's
that.
that's a
Hey,
quote. That's a quote. We need
that's a
to.
quote. Definitely gonna have to put that by itself somewhere. I like to take a
Somewhere.
minute right now, if you don't mind. We're gonna take a look at some of your food, and then hope.
Hola a todos y muchas gracias por haberme tenido en este programa. Estoy muy contenta porque me han dado la oportunidad de haberme escuchado. Estoy aquí gracias a ustedes, me han ayudado a crecer. Y el mensaje que les quiero dar a todos ustedes que tienen un sueño, háganlo realidad. No dejen que sus miedos los detengan. porque el querer es tener. Cualquier pregunta que ustedes tienen en referencia a nuestro negocio o nuestro producto, háganos saber. Nos encuentran en Instagram bajo la Poblana _1 y en TikTok bajo la Poblana 1.
Here at the KF&JF podcast, we try to uplift small businesses, and that's pretty much how we ran into each other. So I want to know, what do you think about the podcast, and what are some of the things that we can do to make it better?
I love your podcast. I got to meet you at that event in Temecula, and I think you guys are doing a great job. Doing the small community, the small businesses, the underdog, it's always a great way to go. And that's part of the new business that I'm starting. So you're on the right path to letting other businesses as well as yourself grow, because part of the things that I've heard left and right and I've learned, the community nowadays needs to see small businesses be real, be together, be hardcore, ask them what they want to hear, let them give you a feedback and comments of what they want to see more of. And I think you're in the right path of doing that, doing the underdogs instead of these big corporations and franchises that are overtaking and overriding these small mom and pops. A little bit that you might want to work on is getting out there, doing more venues, doing more out there. I don't know if you guys are more available to doing like the vat markets or special festivals, and growing from there, doing more live streams, get a feedback of your public and see what they want to see.
Right.
Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to take this time and let you give the name of your business, tell us where they can find you, your Instagrams and everything, and say anything that you would like to say that we wasn't able to ask you a question about. So take this time to do that.
Okay. Well, everybody, I want to thank you for your time and for hearing us out. Like I said from day one, I don't want to judge. This was not an intention for judging or criticizing. I respect everybody for who they are and how they believe. This is my growth and the feedback that I can give you for me as a business owner. And for those out there that want to have their own business, is just go for it. If your fear ain't big enough to go for that, then don't bother with it. Let it make you afraid. Let it make you scared and anxious, because that's telling you you're on the right path. Let that turn into your strategy, your fierceness, and your strength to become and overcome what you want to do. I am La Poblana. You can find me on Instagram under La_Poblana 1_, at TikTok at La Poblana 1_, and on Facebook as Mariscos La Poblana. I'm here to grow with you guys. I want you guys to start following me, see my venues, come and try out our food. If there's anything that you want or you want to try to see in our menus, give us your comment, give us your feedback. We want to make sure that we are here to serve you guys and provide you guys the best quality and taste. So if there's something ever in the future you come and try us and something you don't like, let us know personally. Let us try to make it right. If there's anything that you want to try to create or you want to modify in our menu, we're willing to give it a shot and see if it works. In this kind of industry, you always got to be creative. You got to try new ideas at all times and grow, because that's what it's all about, growing. And I want to thank you once again for having me here in your show and giving me the time to hear me out. Hola a todos. Muchas gracias por haberme tenido aquí en este programa con nuestros compañeros de KF&JF podcast. Nos han anunciado porque ellos creen en los negocios chicos, creen que podemos crecer, y a todos los negocios chicos, síganos, porque ellos están aquí para apoyarlos a ustedes, para hacerlos crecer. Cualquier pregunta y comentario que ustedes tengan con este programa, ellos están aquí para ayudarles y escucharlos. Para todos ustedes que quieren hacer un negocio y crecer en él, les voy a dar un consejo: no dejen que sus miedos los detengan. Crean en ustedes mismos y adelante, porque podemos todo lo que queremos. Me pueden encontrar en Instagram y en Facebook y en TikTok bajo La Poblana 1. Gracias, KF&JF Podcast, y síganlos para poder seguir nuestros negocios de toda la minoridad, la comunidad hispana, y a todas las comunidades de los negocios chiquitos que estamos aquí para crecer. Muchas gracias.
All right.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate everything
You're
you said
welcome.
to thank us.